What's up, guys? I'm so sorry about that. What's up, team? How you guys doing? I hope you guys had a great weekend. We had some issues, so I do apologize about that. Let me make sure we have sound because who knows? There we go. We're good. Man, it's a struggle, right? It's not necessarily a struggle more so than it is. You got to just overcome and conquer. All right. I hope you guys had a great weekend. It's football kicked off. College football, the best time of the year, only because of college football. It takes me it takes my mind off of being upset that the summertime is getting ready to leave us. Sorry, I gotta turn it down because I just wanted to make sure we had sound. So we're gonna go over the markets. We have a ton of data, right? We got a ton of data. We got, more importantly, a ton of inflation data, guys. So let's get right into it. If you guys have any questions, by the way, throw them in the comment section. Throw them on the chat, and I will get back to you. I will get to you tonight. Throw in tickers down below. We'll cover them if there's something you want to look at. What are you looking at? If you could also comment down below some plays you're looking at, maybe even some contracts, and we will start doing them and seeing how they do. Right? Weekly options, stocks themselves, equities themselves, and we'll see how they do, see how we perform. If you'd like to do that, leave a comment in the section of the strike price, the date. I'd like to keep it to a weekly, or the equity itself, and we'll track and see how it does, right? Depending on if it's a small cap, mid cap, or large cap. If it's a small cap, more so, we'll see how that does for intraday trading. So again, we're going to get right into it. We're going to go through the overall markets, and what we're going to do is we're going to tie the markets in with the data because it's important. That's going to help you a little bit because you don't want to try and time the market, but you want to have a reason why you think the markets could be where they would be at that time, or with this, if this, then that type of scenario. So I want to get right into it. I got a lot of I have a lot of tickers here, but we're going to be more focused on this inflation data, what that does to the bond market, and what that does to the Fed interest rate hike decision. You can go to CME, and there's a lot of different places that'll give you the percentage of a rate increase between September, November, year end, January, February, so on and so forth, all the way up until next year. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I just wanted to open the door for my little girl, or the window, because she likes to look out at the window, and she was sleeping all day again. So let's get into it. A ton of inflation data, GDP data for us and around the world, guys. The usual 2-year, 5-year note. Keep track of those. Not like for any it doesn't mean anything week to week, but you'll start to just kind of see where they're trading at. We're below fives, right? And people are starting to get this impression that because the yield curve is uninverting, that's like a good sign. It's really not, guys. If you guys do any type of research going back, and it could be anywhere from 6 months to 2-3 years, right? It could just drag on. There is no, it does it at this time between when the yield curve inverts, 10-12 months, the recession starts. No, there's a lot of liquidity. There's no timing it, right? You don't want to sit there and try and time the market. But intraday trading, we have that access to be able to take advantage of a lot of stuff that's going on. And like I say, guys, it's week after week after week after week. Summertime is not usually like this. August, September, like we would start to get into, like, we're starting to get into what would be the winter session, but it hasn't. We have not gotten out of this volatility. So it's important that you guys understand what's going on, that it is the time right now. Now is the time. We trade Monday through Friday right here on YouTube, 7:30 to 4. Sometimes I'll come on earlier than that, but I try to come on as early as I can so we can run through the news, get our levels. What do we think about the news, and how what's our trading plan. So we go through all that. And again, if you guys haven't done so and you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe. We put this information out there just about every day, right? We do more than just give you guys levels on the SPY and this and that. And we don't try to feed you into selling you things. So that helps greatly. Just hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so, share it with a friend. We're open to asking any questions. We're working to helping you guys with whatever it is that you guys are struggling with or wanting to know. Because I know, we're in this inflation environment and a lot of people are just trying to get ahead a little bit, right? We're just trying to make ends meet and are trying to find other ways of supplemental income, right? So if you don't know, I've been doing this for close to 10 years, right? We've been pretty spot on since I've started this. So again, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. That's all we ask. Let's get into it. So we have this data here. And again, like I said, this is not just inflation data for us. You have JOLTS, job openings, S&P Case-Shiller home price index. And then, excuse me, sorry, I was running around. Germany inflation rate, right? It's not just about us. It's around the world, guys. Do we start seeing inflation start to pick up in other parts of the nation, right? It's important. Because that's going to take a toll on upcoming earnings, right? If inflation is just continuing to run rapid, not just here, but around the world, what does that mean for earnings coming in? And like that's just going to bring that recession risk even more so, closer, and could influence it a lot more, right? Retail inventories, good trades balance, yeah, but we have GDP price index quarter over quarter estimates. PCE. Right. We also have PCE towards the end of the week. You get your usual natural gas and oil data. Manufacturing PMI for China. Again, it's not just us. You guys got to look at the data around the world. Inflation rate. Again, inflation data all week. Inflation rate, right? Europe, France, I just gave it to you. Italy, right? Let's continue. GDP. Right? For the old Conor McGregor's Irish. Core PCE, guys. This is what the Fed uses for their inflation data. They don't use CPI. They don't use PPI. They go off of PCE. They're still saying that it's still hovering around that 4%. Well, it says here PCE price index year over year, 3% was previously. Consensus was 3.3. So if you ask me, we are pretty much almost at that 2% that they want to get to. We have initial jobless claims. Fed Collins is going to come out that day. Obviously, you're going to have a Fed member come out. Chicago PMI. If you didn't catch the weekend video, you should probably go check it out. Not probably, you should. There's a lot of good information there that I brought out to us. Canada's GDP growth rate, non-farm payrolls, an unemployment rate, ISM manufacturing. Guys, huge week. All right, I gave you guys the definition of a recession, right? Retail, other than 2 quarters of negative GDP, two consecutive quarters of GDP negative, there's other things that they use, and there's other formulas that they use other than retail sales, manufacturing, and non-farm payrolls. Those are the other three. So when you start seeing retail sales, the markets are definitely going to move. Manufacturing, the markets are going to move. Non-farm payrolls, the markets are going to move, guys. Right? Those are the other 3 parts of a recession that the market's going to start looking for. Right? How fast and at what rate are we slowing down? Right? Again, this is more than just finding the levels on the S&Ps. I'm not going to have you guys sit here for an hour just to give you 15 minutes worth of data. All right? Stop tuning into that stuff because it's not doing any good for you. It's really not. Comment down below. Right, exactly. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Exactly. ISM manufacturing. Again, this is all recessionary data, inflationary data. This is going to be a huge week, guys. It's a huge week. So I told you guys over the weekend, a 2-year note options, volume and open interest. Look at this put to call ratio. Put to call ratio. I've already came on and said that I'm looking for a pullback on the 2 years. Well, other people are feeling that same exact way. Now, listen, you don't know what this is for because as far as the positioning, right? These things are hedged, right? They do institutional money, order flow, hedges, right? They want to get that spread in between their positions, right? Unless, not to say that they don't put on positions, right? But they want to be hedged because the whole point of this is to make money, manage your risk so that you can make more than you are wrong. So by doing that, you to put on a hedge gives you it controls your risk. If you're putting on the right type of hedge, it takes the risk out of it for the most part. There's still a little bit of risk there, right? Because we've been in a weird market. Like banks have been coming down with TLT. Usually they're opposite, right? Usually that's a hedge. You could be long both of them, and one works, and you cut the loser, or you do them at separate times where you're collecting on both, right? There's a whole lot of different ways to make money in the markets, right? Between buying options, derivatives, buying and selling of derivatives. There's all kinds of ways to make money, guys, and that's our goal. We have one number that we come into. Our job is to make that number bigger. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So again, call 1,714 under Globex, and put ratio is 11,879. Right? So definitely swayed more to one side than the other. So, and we're feeling the same way. Fed balance sheet on its way down. They're trying. They're making the effort. They haven't commented really on it other than saying that they've been doing it. So Friday you had the Philly Fed, Harker, come on and actually brought up the fact that college tuitions are coming back in October. There's a lot of things that could help with all of this inflationary concerns. You had downgrades of banks. I don't have that page up here. I don't know why. So we have a tropical storm coming. What could this do for energy? I think it could help with a pullback, actually, right? I think it could help with a pullback. So if you don't know, Category 2 winds are actually, we usually don't get hurricanes coming this far southeast, right? But this could open up some opportunity if we do get it, and it does become like a Category 2, Category 3, even a Category 1, right? Home Depot, oil, right? Those type of names you want to watch for if it does some damage, right? Insurance, things of that nature. So these things are a little important. Now, Category 2 is still 90-mile-an-hour winds, guys, if you guys don't know that. That's still a little bit to do some damage, right? So let's get into the yields. That's our main concern. This whole week, when this data comes out, sorry, I need to shave. When this data comes out, I am going to be playing the 10s. All right, I'm going to be playing everything that I do this week is going to be off of yields. The market has. So if you don't know, we were trading lockstep with it. It was going up. The 2-year was going up. The 10 years were going up, and we were also on our way up. Right? It didn't affect it. Did not affect the market until we hopped over that 4 or 3.9 level. Once we got over that 4%, the markets didn't like it too much, right? And the rate that it's been doing so. I want to see if we can get ourselves a pullback. Now, again, the yield is starting that yield curve inversion is starting to close a little bit. But by the time you get to the recession, the yield curve is already uninverted. And by that time, the recession, is just getting started. So don't think that this is a good sign because rates have still just, ripped. They've just ripped to the upside. So you're going to start seeing things. It's just how long does that stuff take, right? Can the Fed do a soft landing? I mean, the only thing I could think of is that they're going to be this stern, then fine, right? People need it. It's going to do harm, but it will also do more good than harm for the longer term, right? Let's get it over with, so we can all move on and have that next generational wealth, and people get to retire, people can afford homes, and bring these houses. Hopefully, it can bring the housing costs down. At least, in some areas, I know that it's went down, but your higher populated areas, houses are still high with high interest rates. It's like something's going to give. I'm telling you, there's going to be a time when the sellers don't meet their requirements and the sellers can't sell. Do they want to sell? And here's the other issue with that is that sellers or non-sellers are locked in if they were smart or had any common sense, refinanced and are at a 2% rate. Why would they sell their home to pick up a higher interest rate? So you're going to see, and that's the other downside of this that nobody talked about. Well, guess what? We've been through it. Now we know, right? Having such low rates starts to have its effect, right? Now what is the adverse effect on that, right? Rates are higher. People don't want to sell. We don't have homes. What happens? Do we just have higher home prices that just continue to stay high and the sellers don't sell because they're not getting the price that they want, right? And what gives? So there's a flip side to every good, and there's a flip side to every bad, right? So people are not selling homes because they don't want it. They're not going to pay a higher rate unless they have cash. You're not going to see people move, right? You're not going to see homes for sale, at least coming up for a while. I would say for a while. So let's actually look up. I want to show you guys something here that I took a note of. Let's go look at real quick. I got my brokerage up. We're going to run through stocks. If you guys have any tickers, any stocks, any questions, throw it in the chat. I'd be happy to help you guys. I'm going to run through my game plan, what I think is going to happen with the markets, and with, between the time that this economic data comes out. Again, you can have stuff come out throughout the week that could influence a lot of different things. You could have different news that comes out. We still have a couple earnings that I want to play, which I'm going to get into. I really am looking at Salesforce. All right. I'm looking at Salesforce because I love to play Salesforce and CRM, Salesforce. Their earnings are always usually awesome to play. At least for me, they have been, right? You know how you have some stocks that are good to you, some that are bad to you that you just can't seem to trade. So Salesforce, CrowdStrike, Chewy, Five Below, all that fun stuff right there. What is going on here? Come on. On Wednesday after the close, but we have NEO on Tuesday. I'm going to be trading NEO, that's for sure. Right? Whether it's to the downside, to the upside, I don't care. I will be trading NEO. I will be trading Salesforce. I might trade CrowdStrike. I might. You'll have to watch with CrowdStrike because the options will be a little spready. Broadcom, Lululemon on Thursday after market close, and UBS Bank. I think UBS Bank were they ones that got that? See, that's the thing that I had up that I wanted to show you guys was what were some of the banks that got downgraded by S&P Global. All right, so what was I going to get into? Oh, real quick, other news. Ford and GM going through union talks, so you're going to want to watch Ford and GM. There should be some volatility there with this union negotiations going on. You could get talks of, we haven't met an agreement, that kind of stuff, or that they did, right? What does it all mean? So I wanted to also bring up China tech stocks. So, there's a lot of stuff, guys. If you guys know how to find the right sectors of the market, there's a lot of reasonings to be doing things, right? Bank downgrades, tech, China tech earnings like BABA, JD, and GM, Ford, union talk. So there is a lot. And what was I getting ready to get? Oh, I got you. I'm sorry. Right here. XHB, right? We were just talking about home builders. Let's get into it. I don't know how long I've been recording. Hopefully it's not long because I want to get into it. I want to give you guys my game plan and all that fun stuff. All right, 19 minutes. Not too bad, right? We're making progress. I want to get better at these and the videos that I put out. I want to start learning the editor. So let's go look at a weekly chart. I want to show you guys something. This is home builders. See, that sucks because Thinkorswim's not giving it to me. Brutal. Oh, no, it is. I'm sorry. Right here, guys. So look there. We have a really nice double top. With what? This is what we look for. What do we have? We have a double top with volume, right? And look how far away we are from the 150 day. or 150-day or 50 weekly moving average, right? That's your weekly moving average right there. So we have a really nice double top here that I'm going to be looking to take advantage of this here. I'm going to be looking to be short home builders on any type of bounces that we get. Let's go to the daily chart, right? And I'm obviously going to watch the markets to have my markets. You want to have the markets at your back, guys. So if the market's going up, don't try and fight the short unless it's got separate news that's going to send it to the downside. Because, you know, just like myself, I was trying to. I noticed last week the divergence that Tesla had from the market, right? The market would open up green, Tesla was opening up red, right? I put on the trade, I was able to make money on it the first trade, got a little mess, I took it off, and then I made a video about it. You can go back. Last week was big. If you don't know, hit that like button, guys, and join us. I'm telling you guys, we're going to be taking opportunity of this. I'm telling you right now, this week, I'm going to be looking to just you know, I'm going to be looking to come out at the end of this week the champion. I'm telling you that right now, right? So if you don't know, we do trade right here live Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. So join us right here, Ivy League Trading, YouTube.com. You can also find me on Twitter, Ivy League Trading, Twitter.com. It's at Ivy League Trades. So we have a pretty clean double top here on the daily chart. This thing's a little oversold. So what I would do is I'm going to wait for a bounce back to this 50-day on home builders. This is XHB. Now I have something really cool also that I want to talk to you guys about. So there's our 50-day. I'm going to make this red because that's going to give me my where I can just have this up and I don't have to like be curious onto where the 50-day moving average is. So this is going to be a really nice short, I think. All right, I may have to short it outright. So for members that are in chat, I may just be shorting this because I don't know how the options are. I'll have to look. If they're not too bad, then yes, I will take the options. All right, so this is something I'm going to be watching this week for a bounce back. And a lot of the stocks that I'm looking at, it's going to be a bounce back to the 50-day. That's what it's going to be, guys. I'm going to be looking for bounce backs and to get short. But you have to see what the data is, because if PCE comes in, you're going to have to just look to go long, because that means the Fed's doing their job, and that's a sign of a soft landing so far for now, right? PCE comes down. Oh, Thursday, Friday also. Fed Harker came on. I wanted to tell you guys this. He gave insight to when they could be cutting. They don't plan to cut this year. He mentioned first quarter, right? He's not saying they are. He's not saying they aren't. But if he had to say as of right now, he would say, you know, you could expect it first quarter of next year, right? I'm not sure if we get there. You know, it's hard to say what happens. There's just a lot of liquidity that's just making things slow, and you know, it's all up to them. He brought up Volcker's name. Is he gonna stick to his words, right? If you don't know, he brought up Volcker's name last year and hasn't brought it up since. But will he really do it? Will the politics, you know, if things really start to get bad, and depending on how bad, what sector, right? Are the politics in his ear? You have an election year coming up, so these are things I'm gonna watch. So this is a 15-minute chart. I'm just putting in my levels here. So here's a clear divergence from the S&P, right? This is what you want to look for if you guys want to start, especially if we trade to the downside. It does, whether we're in a market crash or not, right? Let's go, bro. So if you look up the S&Ps or any other stock for that matter, right? Let's look at the SPY. What did the SPY do Friday? The SPY closed higher than where it opened. The SPY closed green. What did the home builders do? They closed red, right? So I'm going to look to see how it reacts at Friday's close or Thursday's close for now, right? I'm going to see where we're going to first see where we open up. I think you're going to gap up, because if the markets, if I think we're going to get a gap up, which I do, not like a huge one, but I think we go to the upside beginning of the week, and depending on PCE and how this data comes out, will in return, you know, dictate the direction for the rest of the market the rest of the week. And if you guys could take the time, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's greatly appreciated. It's all we ask for. XHB, it's kind of hard to say, is on my list, and I'm getting into the markets right now. But so this is an important one also, guys. Biotech. All right, why do I bring up biotech? Because this is a sector that should technically get hit in a high inflationary environment, recession risk. They're prone to it. Why? Because they're capital intensive. It's capital intensive. We kind of have here a bear flag, and I'm wanting to know if we're going to start getting some downside on it. I feel like we are. So there's your poll. I'm not going to make this exact, guys, because you guys will get the, you'll get the, whatchamacallit, you'll get the gist of it. Look at that, guys, right? Look at that. So I'm thinking we could start to see some downside. I'm going to be looking to take advantage of this as well, right? There's the ascending wedge. We'll see what we do. It may take a little time, but this is something I'm watching for, because the higher rates go, this is an area that I'm going to want to look to be short, because of the reason that it's cost intensive, right? It's going to cost them more to raise money, diluting shares, all that fun stuff. This is the place, this is one other place you'd like to be. If things start to go downhill with high rates, this may be an area you might want to look at. So don't forget biotechs, right? Don't forget biotechs. And look, we're trading under the major moving averages, and the 50-day is below all of them. Like, they're right in line for the downside. We have just put in a double top at the 50-day. This is a sector I'm going to want to look to short and see if we can break down out of this. That's if inflation data comes out pretty hot, right? If it seems like Fed's going to have to continue with these rate hikes a little bit longer than they would like to, or one would, the markets would like for them to. Sorry. Anyway. Again, if you haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And again, if you have any questions, if you have plays, what are you guys looking at? Throw it in the chat. This is why I do this, because guys, there's no reason for anybody to have to spend all kinds of money to not make any money, right? You have all these groups that ask for so much money, and it may not be a lot of money to some people. It may not be a lot of money. I'm just going to say they charge more than what it's worth. Right? That's just my honest opinion. It's my honest opinion, right? I don't think you get the one-on-one help from the people that you want, especially when they get too big and only cater to the people that have the most money. The people that they want to cater to, who they want to cater to. The whole business model behind that, if you guys don't know, is to have recurring revenue, and their hope and goal is to hopefully you can make enough money in the markets so you can continue to feed them. Right? Because if you don't make it, or if you're having trouble, what will they say? They'll say, well, listen, we've had, just statistically from the data that I want to look at it in whatever way, you should spend more money to do this. They charge just to hang out and chart and come up with ideas, right? They charge a lot of money for that. This is why I ask, hit that like button. If you're watching this later after the live, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already done so. Because the whole business model that they run on is to suck money out of your wallet, right? That's the whole purpose of the game, is to continuously dry you out until you're no longer viable for money anymore, and they just move on to the next. It is what it is. That's the name of the game. That's just what it is, right? And they hope to be able to continue to, even if you do make money, they still want to be able to get that through different avenues, right? And that's okay. You want to do that, go ahead. That's fine. But my sole purpose here is to give it to the people that don't have that opportunity and just want to do better for themselves. And again, all we do is ask for a like and a subscribe. So this is the S&Ps. So on the daily chart, we're a bit oversold. Now I'm going to explain to you and I'm going to try and help you picture what I'm thinking. Okay, and this is, again, going to go in with what data we get towards the end of the week. All right, I'm going to look to see if we can get a bounce up to this 50-day. But I want to paint this picture out for you, and I'm sorry, but this is bugging me. I got to make that a little bit bigger. All right, watch daily trigger for weekly upside. Yes. So here's what I'm doing. Oh, and look, hey, Bingo, thank you for that Ford and GM too, because You're right about that. And you mentioned that Friday, you could have some nice volatility there with Ford and GM with the union negotiations that are going on. So on our weekly chart, we're a bit oversold, right? So what am I thinking here? My thought process is maybe we could get ourselves a little bounce, right? We get a little bounce. Why do I want to look for a bounce, guys? Because I want to see, and if you've been doing this for a while, you already know. I want to see if we can get, and take notice, guys, that you just had a MACD crossover, right? You're starting the weekly side of the chart, what institutional ownership looks at, right? This is what they use because they're not in stocks for a week, a couple days, 6 months. They're in it for 4 or 5. They look at 5-year returns. And I gave you guys a quote a while ago. I'll have to go back, but pretty much every time the S&Ps traded at these valuations at 20 times earnings, you had a negative return on a 5-year time span. Just to put it to you bluntly, that's about what it was. Anytime the S&Ps had traded at around 20 times or over, you had a negative return on a 5-year investment. Right? Those are the things they look at. So what I want to see is down here at the bottom, this is the RSI, Relative Strength Index. I want to see if we can pop ourselves up to put in a lower high, right? And then continue to see if we can get a longer term downtrend because, we are contracting, right? Whether it gets bad or if it's not that bad, it doesn't matter. The data is showing it. It's pretty slow right now. But when it starts speeding up and picking up, and what else is that going to do? That's going to continue to bring this 50-day up. It's going to bring this 100-day up. They're going to meet, but hopefully the S&Ps can meet there at the weekly chart and possibly maybe get a bounce. And I don't know when that'll be. If it doesn't, maybe November, end of October, maybe, right? Scroll up. Yeah, I see. Big plays this week. Watch daily trigger for weekly chart. Am I missing something? Am I not seeing it? I see here you say big plays this week. Wait, it says watch daily trigger for weekly upside. Weekly upside, daily trigger for the week. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm looking for in a sense, right? Am I reading you wrong? Right? Because this is kind of what I'm looking for here. And look at that 28. That was 2020, but 2018. Look at that. Did you guys see that? That's insane. 92 weekly RSI on the S&Ps. I was looking at that earlier for 2018. That's insane. So yeah, that is what I'm looking at for the S&Ps, and this is why I'm, leaning on the, I'm leaning on the upside for right now. All right, I'm leaning on the upside for a few different reasons. Now, even with the data, I feel like you got the lag effect. The lag effect is still going to be, there's still a lag effect and a lot of things coming down the pipeline that is still the I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry, guys. So the risk is to the downside, right? Another thing, how do we look at this? How I'm looking at this is who's going to do exactly what I just said? Who's going to buy here and look for a 5-year return? We could continue to, though, right? If we continue to see small candles like we did on this rally, if these candles get small and you're starting to see that we're just starting to climb and just gap up and we just sit flat all day, gap up, sit flat, gap up, look for more upside to get all-time highs, right? It may not happen here in September or August and September, but look for it at the end of October. October is usually a strong month seasonally, right? If volatility starts coming back down before, this ship crashes, if it does crash, again, it's going to depend on the data. Because if the data comes in the way that the Fed would like it to, which is coming down to that inflation target of 2%, they're going to start being able to cut rates. The sooner it does it, the sooner the Fed can say, we're going to start bringing rates back down a little bit because the data is where we want to see it. And of course, they're going to say, well, if it comes back up, we're going to look for them to, we're going to look for them to say, yeah, we're going to have to raise interest rates again. They want to avoid the 70s though, but there's so many, and that's the thing I wrote down, right? ECB Lagarde, who is the they're pretty much their Fed chair for Europe. She said the same thing. We live in a different time, right? There's so many different ways for people to make money, from Uber, Airbnb, markets. I mean, you name it, right? So things are a little bit different, and it may take, it could take a lot longer. Obviously, there's just different ways for people to make money and more of it, right? There's a lot of different ways to supplement your income. Your daily trigger, weekly upside. Yeah, I don't. For weekly upside, I don't know what you mean by that, man. Like daily trigger, what would that be? What is the daily trigger? That's what I'm sorry. Like, forgive me. I apologize. I'm trying to figure out what that is. Like, what is the trigger? Because what I'm looking for is a bounce back into the 50-day, and then I think we pull it back. I do. I think we pull it back because I want to see us get back down here to 420. I want to show you guys why. All right, this is my game plan again. Did you see? The only message I seen was big plays this week. Watch daily trigger for weekly upside. Scroll up, arrow up. So, sorry. So no, it may not have came up, buddy. If you posted tickers or anything, no, it didn't. It didn't come up. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the S&Ps. So no, I don't see it. Because again, hold on, let me see here. Come on. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, like I said, I'm not seeing it. Let me do something here real quick. Let me make sure this is on. Okay, that could be why. That's probably why right there. I don't see, everything just got messed up on me today for some reason. Um, yeah, no, I don't see it, buddy. I'm sorry. So again, guys, 50 day. I'm going to be watching for that, but I also want to show you guys something as well. All right, I'm going to measure these moves and just kind of, it's not even really measuring it, but I want to show you guys, even with the cues, and I'm going to cover the cues, and I'm going to go into the 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart, and try and hurry up. I don't know what, see, now I got to get used to not doing that. I think it wasn't here, right? It wasn't here. It might have been. Well, there's one. So there's our 38.2 fib, which puts us back at our prior resistance that we haven't made support, okay? You can say, yes, we made it support. But that little double top or double bottom on it, do you think it's enough to create a whole new market to sit on top of there, that it's going to hold it up? You need structure, right? You want to sit there for a little bit, work your way to the next level. Sit there for a little bit, work your way up to the next level. That's how I like to look at it. You don't have much price action. You do have a little bit to the left, but it was fairly quick. So that's what I'm looking at there. Also, and I'm going to get into the other stocks that I'm looking at. So here is my specific goal and what I'm looking for the S&Ps, right? I want to see tomorrow if we can pull it back. I want to see if we can pull it back to this previous pivot. This was after hours, so it's going to be more so the end of the day, just about, so 439.50 area, right? I want to see if we pull it back. Maybe you start testing that 439, 430.50, 439.50 to 439, and then I want to look for the bounce if we get that pullback, and I want to see if we can work ourselves up to, where did I write? See, I have all kinds of notes here. SPY, GM, Ford, NVIDIA. Why did I do that? Right here, 439.50, right. So our first resistance is going to be 441, right here. That's 442.30. 441, right here. This is going to be my first level that I'm watching. 441, and that's going to be Friday's high. Look to see what we do at Friday's high. We probably go up to it, tap it, pull it back, and see if we hold, like, if we pull it back in the morning, depending on what we do Monday. I mean, the SPY has been all over the place, so we may kind of consolidate. So I'm going to take it level by level, right? 441. Then I'm going to look for 442. You got a previous double bottom here. Boop, boop, right there. It's 442. Yeah, 441 to 441.50 is the first level. And then, oh, that's the Qs. I don't know. So my ultimate goal is to get up to this level here, guys, at 444. Right? I want to see if we can get back up here to 444. Well, here's what's going to happen. That 50-day is going to pull itself down as we start to come up. It's going to price in that little bit of area. And I also want to talk about Adobe, I think. I have a whole list. I got CRM, Adobe, Goldman Sachs, NVIDIA. See, you want to watch what NVIDIA does. Tesla, Affirm, GM, and Ford. So I'm going to look for a pullback early Monday and see if we can get a bounce early, like Monday into Tuesday, and then we start getting data Wednesday, more so Thursday and Friday. So I want to look for a bounce back up to that 50-day. It's possibly around Wednesday into Thursday, and then we see what the data does. All right, that's what I'm going to look for. Let me do this real quick. And I'm going to get into the Qs. The Qs have a really nice setup also. And we have I ultimately want to see if we can retest this 100-day moving average. Because what's going to happen is, as we get up to this 50-day, the 100-day is going to be still following right behind us. We get a pullback off the 50-day. Maybe PCE comes in hot. We pull it back down to the 100-day moving average. And then we just try to, like, you know, maybe you get some buyers there. Where is the 100-day? It's around 430. What else do we have there? Right? What else do we have? We have this area where your gaps are. And that also lines up with the 100-day moving average, which is also the 38.2 Fibonacci from this high here. Right? I know it is. It's either that on, it's one of them on the Qs from the actual starting point of the rally. That's 50 on it. I know it is. I know it is because I've already done it. Right? All of it is just lining itself right up. 430. See what I mean? 38.2 Fibonacci also lines up with damn near what? Our 100-day moving average, which is our previous double top that we never made support. This area right here, I'm looking for this 430. There's a previous double top resistance, triple top even. I mean, really 4 if you want to call it that. But all you had was this little area right there. Right there to make it support. That's it. You had these two candles. That's it. Right? Those two candles is not a lot. That's not enough to hold up a whole, 6 months of price action, 4 months of price action. It's not. We're going to test this area. It's when do we do it? Are we starting to coming in to test this level after we test the 50-day again or start to get up to that area? We get this data and that pulls us back into this 430 area. That's what I'm looking for. Right? So I'm going to time it with the data that comes out. You could also get news that comes out that has nothing to do with the data that could send us up or, more importantly, down. Right? Anything can happen. So let's go into the Qs real quick. Sorry about that. I do apologize. Let's go into the Qs. The Qs, the Dow, everything, it's the same. Last week, if you didn't know, the Dow led us to the downside. There was clear divergence from the Dow. Right? This is triple Qs. Come on. All right, I just want to speed this up because I don't want to be long. I want to get into some other stocks that I have levels for and want to get you guys on the right path. So, and myself, right? And if you guys have tickers, and if you guys have any tickers, no, I didn't see the tickers. It shouldn't block tickers. Maybe did you put a $? Yeah, throw in if you want, spell it out, or it might actually, because I know they've been trying to block certain things. Try it again, and I'll let you know. Because yeah, no tickers. There's no tickers here. Try it again, and maybe put a $, or type in 1, and then the type in like a number, and then the ticker. That's probably what it is. It's trying to block like certain things from happening. I don't know. I kind of have I know why they started doing that. but I'm not going to get into it. So we have, so watch for your bases, right? And I wanted to, let me touch on that real quick with the SPY, because these are important. Because you're going to notice that we're in ranges in a lot of these, and a lot of the stocks that we don't have any really nice setups. I'm going to be honest. We don't have many really nice setups here, right? It's kind of like we're in just this area of just like blah, right? So this is an hourly chart of the SPY. You have an inverted cup and handle. The inverted cup and handle, kinda, it's a bit ugly, but you're having the sell side come in where it matters, right? Low volume to the upside, higher volume to the downside. You get a what? Low volume pullback, right? These are all technical things that you need to use when you see patterns, right? If you have a cup and handle, like not inverted, obviously, but a cup and handle, you want to look for a low volume pullback. You want to see more volume on the upside. And when it puts in the handle, you want to look for that low volume sell pressure, and then bang, the high high volume on the buy side, right? So here's our areas for the SPY, right? 443. You could really call it, there's your double top there. We could call it 444, right? We'll call it 444 on the button, right? Right here's our area. This is the area I'm looking to see if we get back down to and test it. There you go. Hey, man, I hope you're doing good. Okay, yeah, DraftKings, but yeah, good one on DraftKings, bro. PayPal, nice list, bro. There we go. Okay, yes, U.S. Steel. I know there was news with them last week. So yes, I'm gonna do them right now. So here's the Dow. It led us to the downside. Dow was leading to the downside. It actually bounced up. It did test its 100-day moving average. We'll see. I'm gonna start following the Dow. If the Dow is gonna start leading, what happens? Like, where does money go to, right? Because you just had retail get demolished last week, right? A lot of these stocks are still at their highs. There's still inflation worries. Whoever isn't long right now, or whoever has to put money to work, where are they gonna put it to work at? They're gonna put it in the bond market, right? Risk free. They're gonna start. Maybe don't allocate everything, but they're gonna start slowly putting more money there. Maybe energy, but energy's still at highs, right? Where is the value to be had? IWM is on its lows. Do we start looking at Russell 2000 stocks? But again, we're in a higher interest rate. Do they really want to allocate money there? If things are going to get bad, they start running out of cash. Those companies aren't profitable. They don't have hardly any, if they have any at all, cash flow, right? So where does money go? We're in a weird spot right now, guys. We're in a real weird spot. Let's go to the Qs. I'm going to give you levels there, and I'm going to run through the tickers real quick. I appreciate you, Bingo. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it never put it up. It probably blocked it. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. And this is the Qs, all right? The Qs, I'm looking for the same thing, right? I'm going to be looking for this bounce back to the 100-day. All right, so I can't do that. All right. Let's go to a 30-minute chart. I can't wait to see how PayPal's been doing, because it got shellacked, and then I think it started to rebound a little bit. All right, so Qs, you're at resistance, right? I want to see. So I guess futures, it looks like we are pushing through it. This little box right here, this is futures. So it's trying to regain Friday's high, and it's trying to regain this 364 level. So if we do regain this level, I'm going to look for slow pushes up, right? Our next level of resistance is going to be up here at, what is that? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday's high, right? You're going to look at Tuesday's high. Well, it's a little bit before that. Not really. You don't really have much until you get to Tuesday's high, right? I'll look there. It's a little bit higher than Tuesday's high. So we'll look for 366. If we regain this 365 area, look for 366, and we'll start walking it up, right? Start walking it up, 367.50, and we'll just keep walking it up to the 50-day. That's my plan, is to walk this market back up to the 50-day if we don't have some type of news, because we don't really get the big news for the United States until Thursday, Friday. We do get GDP and stuff. We do get some manufacturing, and that's all recessionary numbers that we get. All right, let's get into the Nook, or the Yeah, let's get into this. I don't know why I'm talking so goofy. I don't know. Clear double bottom on IWM, right? That's a double bottom if I've ever seen one. We just don't have the buying. We don't have the buying pressure there. And it also, man, IWM closed red Friday. It closed red. It's a bit oversold as well. What's the weekly chart have to say? I'm sure it's not too oversold, right? So maybe this is where we start to see some buying come in, right? Could we see some buying come in here, or is that a failed breakout? Did we just get a failed breakout right there? Right? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll be finding out soon, right? So what we would do is we'll just take it level by level. If we get a bounce up, we'll look for the rejections, right? IWM is it's nice for beginners because it doesn't move too much on you, right? It's a little volatile. It can be a little volatile, but it's a good place to start watching and noticing the price action when you get to certain areas. So yeah, it could not close above there. I'm gonna look for the IWM to get back down to 178. 178. All right. Remember, banks, all that fun stuff. Let's get into it. We're going to start with DraftKings. I haven't seen DraftKings in a while. We're coming into the season. You already know what time it is. I will be having a college football show. I love college football. I've been betting college football since 2017, 2018. I still have all my receipts. What I do is I've always had a profitable season. I've yet to have a down year, right? Last year we took $300, turned that into 2,200 last year. That was majority of Christmas right there, right? That's what I do it for. I do that because, and I pick my spots, right? I don't gamble, right? You can call it gambling, call it what you want, but the thing is it's not, it's legal in my state, but it's only, they don't have DraftKings and stuff like that. You can't do it over your phone just yet, I'm pretty sure. You have to go to the casino. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. I like it because there's a reason why I like it, and I'm not going to give my stuff away. So I pick my spots in college football. I can go in, I can cash out, and I don't have to play anything like unlike some people. It was a frustrating year, man. I gave this one guy. He was drunk. He was actually a kid, and he wanted a parlay so bad, and I gave him two winners. It was college basketball. I think it was about 2-3 years ago when everybody was I think it was towards the end of the basketball season when everybody was playing TCU. And I'm like, man, listen to me. The spread is 1 for a reason. TCU is favored by 1 for a reason. There's a reason they're only favored by 1. Turns out, people couldn't. That's the psychology of sports betting. Especially once you get past, like, even the NFL and college football. When you get past week 4, really week 5 into week 6, that's when we get numbers. We've gotten the numbers dialed down, right? There's a lot. So we're going to get into all that as we start to get into the second half of the first week. So it's going to be an exciting, I love this time of year. So let's get into DraftKings. DraftKings bounced off its 100-day, right? DraftKings bounced off its 100-day. Wow, I have a lot of levels, right? I have a lot of intraday. Looks like I could just scout my way through this thing, right? DraftKings. Wow, we are at the 100-day, and it looks like it's rejecting. Well, what I would do for DraftKings, I'm going to look for a pullback down to 2650. We'll look for a pullback into this area. We don't have any volume, man. That sucks. There's no volume to the buy side. They've spent a lot of money. Earnings were better than expected. I would look. We are oversold. I'd like to see if we could get a low volume pullback. But if the market's going to go up, if I think we're going to get a bounce back in the markets, maybe I'll look at buying the dip. I would be really concerned about this area here at 2750 because if we make 2750 resistance, then there is more downside to come on DraftKings. I promise you. I promise there's more downside. If DraftKings closes back below 2750, there will be more downside, and we will be revisiting that 100-day moving average. Let me see something really quick, and we're going to do this. Yeah, see? Nice Bing. Exactly. That's the level. 27 2650, 2750, really. All right. It looks like we've had some buyers there, though. We'll see if we get them to step back in. This is a weekly chart. That's a nice tail you put there. You've broken it. The thing is we were under it, but we broke back above it. So what do? We'll look for 2750 to be a buyer. You know, it's hard to say because we could give it to this area, but you would think you break 2750, we're going to make 2750 resistance if we break it. So it's kind of, it's kind of one of those things we'll have to see because we don't look at the volume just decreasing, right? Maybe people forgot about the stock and these sellers are getting out. Trigger up weekly upside, right? So it's oversold. Let's go to a 15-minute chart real quick. Let's see if we can really hone in on this. Well, one thing that we do know is we do have buyers sitting down here at 25.50, right? Things get bad, you can catch that bounce back off of 25.50. That's what I'm going to look for, right? That was previous resistance. You broke up above it. You had some decent volume there. It wasn't big volume because there's obviously other things going on. But maybe with the first week of football coming around, maybe this is our catalyst to get ahead of this trade. We'll look for a pullback into that area, which it did it Friday. It pulled back into 27.50 and it closed green. So it closed green. I think you just don't have people and more so retail traders and stuff, looking at this. But we have a clear double top, it looks like, up here just about. We got a gap fill up here, right? We get long this thing. We could take this to 29.50. That's what I would do. It is priced in, but I would think that just exactly what I just said with people not being drawn to it to trade it or buy it. Right. But here's the thing too. They may try to get retail traders to bid it up to step up in these areas to start selling it as they let it climb higher, and they don't pack in on the selling unless for some reason there's some type of news or something else that changes the the sentiment, right? You're right. It could very well be priced in, but I also could see them stepping away from selling this thing to bring in some liquidity, right? Only to just sell it at higher prices. Because even at longer term, I mean, even because I'm thinking about it too, if you were pretty early on buying this, which a lot of them buy IPOs, and this was a SPAC. It was from Diamondback, because I was buying it at $11. I was buying it at that $11, $12 mark. I sold my whole position high 60s, and I took some off in the 70s. I pretty much did really good on that. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, that would be my only thought process is, do they let them do they just step aside a little bit and let them bring this back up? Because if you notice something here, I don't know why I have this here. You have no support here, or you have no resistance. There's no resistance on this triple bottom. There's price action here and here. These are some of the things I look for too, is that you have no resistance here. It made resistance down here, but look at the gap. There's a 29.50 to 30 just about. There's a 30 cent, really it's to $30. There's a 50 cent gap fill or gap here. So let me turn this off. Let me turn after hours off and you'll see it. And you have a little area there where there's really no resistance, right? This 29.38, and you bottom off right around here at this level. So what I'm getting at is that little box there. Why do I do that? I need to learn to just use my mouse. I just made a video about that. I'm gonna call it right there. So you have this little area right there that's just doesn't have any resistance, right? So, and technically, the real resistance is up there at 30.50. I don't know. My thought process is it's oversold. Maybe you get a little dip buying in and the sellers just step away, but they are slowly there. As it rises, they just sell a little bit off, sell a little bit off. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you have another reasoning behind it as far as more institutional selling. But if for some reason the people just haven't been drawn to this stock yet, I don't know. That would be my thought. I would just watch it, because if it bounces, if we get another support level off of 2750, I will take it back to this area to make 2975, 2950 resistance. You haven't made it resistance. It's an area of support, and really it's just weird because it's just sitting here. It's just like, it's really this whole area where there's no price action, right? It's really from where earnings started to there is where it really would be. It would be to there. You have this little bit, but what is that, Because it gapped up, pulled back. You still have this little gap here, and then there's a gap over here too. So this whole, I would like to see this thing come back up to 30.50, right? Then really attack the short. What would that also do? That would also allow a lower high to be put in, right? Maybe you get a break of the 50, pull some people in, right? Oh, shit. Right? That would, maybe we pull it back, and then, somehow you bounce up and you're able to just put in a lower high, right? Maybe we put in a lower high, even if it's to like here, right? Just somewhere in here where you could put in that lower, longer term high is what I'm getting at. It'll bring the RSI up on the daily. Maybe it'll bring it up on the weekly. We'll see what happens. I would say we got to put in a lower high up here. There's no price action here, right? You could come back to it later on, but I still think, we could put in a lower high there. You said Square, PayPal, X. Let me go to X. DraftKings, PayPal, and X, not Square. Let's go to this real quick. And I have some more work I want to do also throughout tonight. My cat is not going to wake me up. She's been trying to sleep. She's sleeping right now. She's such a little punk. I feel bad because I need to play with her and stuff. But the stream, I wanted to do the stream earlier. But again, so when I tried to log on earlier, the YouTube just asked me all kinds of questions and made me log out, made me log back in, do a whole bunch of unnecessary stuff. Man, this thing is just still in the range. Got to be short. Right? Didn't they say that the deal didn't get done? I thought the deal didn't get done. Like, they didn't come to an agreement. I'm pretty sure. I would look to be short. This is a really good spot, actually. Great job again. I gotta really give it to you. I would take it short. I would look to take it short. That's where I would be. Weekly's decent. Daily, same thing. We're a bit oversold. I mean, this could be a really nice short. I mean, at minimum, right? 27.50. Again, this is a $30 stock. We'll walk it down. 29.50, 29.39, and we'll walk it back down to this area. Unless they're still in. I know they're in talks with a couple people, so maybe they keep this thing up there. But I'll look at it two ways. Right, I'll look at it two different ways. If no deal is done and we just get this pullback, just like Tesla with Twitter, you're going to get some call buyers down here. Some people trying to play that bounce. Little reverse head and shoulders kind of, but I wouldn't even say. I'm going to go for the short. That's a really nice short, man. 27.50. See where we at when we get there, but you got some real nice support down here at 26.50. So maybe, we'll take it off as we get there. I mean, this is where you would take it off. Pivot high. Go to that pivot high. There's a first piece off. That piece might damn near pay for the trade. It probably would pay for the trade depending on how you take it off. There's our first piece. Here's our second piece right there at 28.50. Bang. Let that dollar come in. That's your meat and bones from that first take profit. Your meat and bones down to this area. Bang. Hit it down here to 26.50. I'm with it. I could see us putting in a lower high, not a lower high, but technically, 25.50. Then you start getting people wanting to come in because they still want to sell it. That the sell price might be around $30. McDonald's. Yeah, I haven't even thought. Yes, Dow stocks. Exhaustion level at the bottom of June monthly candle. See, yeah, Thinkorswim doesn't give me a monthly candle, unfortunately. I got to use TradingView for that. Yes, let's look at PayPal. Because I want a little volatility this week. I'm ready to come out and fucking kill it. Excuse my language. I didn't mean to cuss. Just in case there's kids or something around. Man, PayPal is still down. Oh, that's right. Maybe I forgot that they had bad earnings or what happened. That's right. Because I thought we got sold off on their earnings. Then they regained. Something happened. Yes. Didn't they come out with news or something, I feel like? There was a reason for this. I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in the past. I put up so much stuff. I go back and look, and I'm like, how did I not trade that? Right? Because I was like, I'll go back to some charts, and I'm like, I charted this thing out for myself and completely forgot about it. Never went back to it, and the trade just worked itself out perfectly. Man, that's another nice chart, bro. I'm gonna have to start paying you, bud. I'm going to. Matter of fact, we hit this weekend. Look at that, another beautiful short. So we got a possible long idea with two shorts right here. All right, beautiful area resistance. What else do we have on this pop up? What do we have? Right, you have a decrease in buying on that way up. You have a decrease in buying. You want to have the markets at your back. You don't want to be fighting the markets, but you could get this MACD also to try. See, sometimes what you'll get is they'll converge, and look at this momentum in that. Look at that. You'll probably get some obvious, people that will take profits on these shorts. At what point does it become a decent valuation, right? That's the other part we got to ask ourselves. At what point is this a buying opportunity? Looks like they stepped in right there, right? That was one of the areas that they stepped in at. Maybe they didn't. Look, I'm trying to pull the volume up, and nobody wants to show up. Wow. All right. So, and again, this is a daily chart. This thing's just way oversold. You could get this MACD to cross up and then just completely hit it, go up just a little bit, and completely reverse back down. I've seen it a lot of times. 56. Where do they want this thing at, man? I'm going to have to do some homework because I hate how it's not giving me much. Maybe that's when it IPO'd. I don't know. Man, wouldn't that be something if this thing got back down to 42? There's just... Man, there's not much here. You just made that previous support and made it resistance, man, to a T. Look at the 50-day line and right up. Dude, PayPal might be hurting. Wow. Kind of got a double bottom here. The thing is we have low volume. Like, they don't want to come in and buy this thing. You would think if there was some value to be had, this would be one of the stocks that they would buy. Right? This is a stock that's not sitting up at the rally. It's actually done quite the opposite. Does PayPal try to make a change? I would look for 49.35 area, this previous low, to start acting as support. That's what I would say. See if you pull back to it, and then maybe you can we'll take it for a trade for a bounce. But I would be cautious even doing that, right? I would do it. My expectations would be low. I would just be looking to get right to where we already were, that we pulled back off of 62.75 area, right? 62.50. It doesn't even want to break. This thing just. We'll see what happens. This week will be the week that'll tell us what's going on. I know I wanted to bring up Adobe too because that you have a clear support level up here, and I want to tell you guys there's a when you get stocks that just sit there and don't continue to go up, you have a slight head and shoulders, but not really. To me, that's not. When I see a pattern, I want to see it really nice. We have a nice gap down here. I want to see if Adobe will pull back and break this level, especially if the markets rally and we can't get through that 50-day. If we get a bounce and the markets pull it back, I want to see if if we can break this level. Let me take that off because my phone was messing up with my stream. for sound. So Adobe's another stock I'm going to look at. I'm going to give you, I haven't done too much work on this. I wrote some of them down. I want to get to Tesla and some of the other main ones. But we don't have any really, really nice setups. Right? I do have this already set up for the resistance. 59 or 530. Right? I'm going to look to get short Adobe around 530. You could get this thing's a little overbought, so if we bring this RSI up, MACD's pretty low, maybe we could, this is all telling me that we could get a little bounce. Right, we'll continue the bounce. You could play it two ways. 52.33, 52.29 area. You look for 52 or 522, 520 for it to pull back. You get your bounce. Let me see here. Yeah. 522. So 522, you want to look for, see if we make that support. Let me, matter of fact, put this in right now. All right. And then we're going to go to a 15-minute chart. There's a lot of lines on here. I do apologize because it's a little, it's just, to me, it's a little crowded. I'm sure it's hard to really see what's going on here. So we're making this previous resistance area support, but I'm looking to see if it gets there. Like, what I'm saying is, again, we pulled it back into here. Right, this was like right around Wednesday's open, lunchtime. Let's look to see if we get a pullback. Maybe it doesn't even pull back. Maybe we just, we continue to rally up. Let's see what we do up at this 50-day. 530, I'm looking for the short. 530, I'm looking for the short. Right, and I want to see how far I can take this thing. I'm really going to be looking to see how far I can take this stock. There's some setups out there that are nice, but they could be better, right? There's not a lot out there. There really isn't, right? There's not a lot. That's my plan for Adobe, right? Get the bounce off of 521, 522. Yeah, 522. Get the bounce and look to get short up at 530. That's a $10 move there to 530. Maybe you could get the long. Right? Maybe it gets itself up to 532, 531.75. All right, but I'm going to look for this area. I'm going to look for this. I'm going to look for 529.50 to 530. That's where I'm going to look to get short Adobe, and I will take it down as far as it. I'm going to be taking pieces off. We get below Thursday's low down here. I'll have, like, a good amount off on that position, and we'll see how it does. If we get an increase in volume to the downside, then I'm going to really look to hang on that short, maybe even hit it again, right? I've made profits. Maybe I could put a little bit of risk back on. You have a lot of structure here and down in this area at the 490s. This could be a nice trade if we catch it at the right time. You could be looking at a $30, $40 trade, swing trade on Adobe, right? If the markets are going to pull back, I want to see if some of these stocks start to pull themselves back too. Bingo. I think, man, I appreciate the contribution, man. That's what it's all about, bro. That's what it's all about. So let me go into some of the stuff I wrote down today. Oh, CRM, right? I told you guys they have earnings. Now I'm going to tell you guys, in the past, CRM has put in really good patterns the day after earnings, right? Especially last time it was to the short. They put in really, CRM is the type of stock that will give you really nice patterns intraday, right? If I put in a 3-minute chart, like, it'll be one of those stocks where, like, it'll pull back off the bell, right? It'll get like a tiny little bounce. It'll break that low and it'll bounce back to that initial morning low, and it'll make it resistance, and then you can lean on it, right? Like at VWAP with this, with that, and it's just like CRM is one of those stocks that when it trades, it'll trade right, and it's actually like, it's not emotional trading with this thing, right? When it does those type of movements, and it all depends on what it is that it's going to do, right? Looks like you kind of have somewhat of reverse head and shoulders there a little bit. Not really, but kind of. Boom, 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 I guess, but not really. So I'm actually looking to see if we can. I think this thing. I don't know. Let me look at the weekly chart. I had a decision made on it, like what my guess would be on it. I want to say bear. So this is a weekly chart here. I'm going to look to see. I want to get a bounce back on this thing again. The earnings aren't until I think Wednesday afternoon. All right, Wednesday after the close. 28. What's today? I don't even know. The 27th. 27th. And that says 30th. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's on the 30th. So Tuesday night. I brought up the picture. We'll go through it as the days go on. There was our target. Look at that. We hit our target, though, on this pennant right there. Bang. Breakout. Boom. We caught that. We caught that here in chat. I don't know if you guys were with us or not, but it was a beautiful trade. Beautiful measured move trade. Weekly chart. This thing's oversold, too, a little bit, which is nice. MACD starting to curl down. You know, it has some decent selling there, but the volume slowed up a little bit on it. Again, a lot of these stocks you're going to see it slowed up because there's just been, you know, NVIDIA earnings from semiconductors and stuff. Clear range, right? We'll see if this thing gets above the 100-day. It's sitting right above it now. See what it does. Maybe there's a little earnings run up, and then we look to fill this gap here. It's at like 413 gets you into the gap. 413.50 gets you into the gap. And here's your gap fill right here. I'm going to make it yellow so we can all see it when it's time. No. My mouse is so easy to trigger. And then right there. That's our gap that we'll look for. Right, that could also be an area that we could look to get short, maybe. Right, 413.50, right in that area. And I will pull up this chart. Again, just like DraftKings. DraftKings kind of has the same thing where it's got that little gap up there. So 211, right? 211. So far, it's been resistant. So with this stock, oh, and like Adobe, right? Like I said, if you're seeing something just sit there, right, and you don't get that quick price action off of a level to show you that buyers are there and they're in control, like that's a hot spot for buyers, and it pulls back to a level and doesn't bounce quickly off of it and get away from that level, and it kind of just hangs out there. It's only a matter of time before it breaks, right? We'll see what CRM has in store, right? But we'll see. Do they raise guidance, lower guidance? What is it? You've been sitting here for quite some time, and this is a stock that does like to do that. It'll just sit in its areas. So that's one. Let's go into Tesla real quick. So last week I was wanting to play Tesla. Tesla again was diverging from the overall markets, right? Tesla was opening up red while the markets were opening up green, right? And then kind of just trading with it. We have a clear resistance level up here on Tesla at 239, 285.50, right? 285.50. You know, again, these aren't the best of setups, but this is a consolidation. Tesla's consolidating. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for this volume, and I'm going to let it tell me what it wants to do because I've got both. Right, I've got some decent sell. The sellers really are up here at 256, in the high 250s. Right, that's where the sellers really are. Right, again, right there, right here. That's where your sellers are. Maybe I want to see if we can pull up and again, same thing. If the SPY is going to run up to the 50-day, let's see if Tesla and all the other stocks are going to do the same. Because what do we have up here? You have a previous support area, which is key, right? So if Tesla starts to bounce, we're going to see if we can get the 50-day to pull itself back. It looks a little better. I'm going to go to a different chart than the daily chart. You know, it's like, it's tough. No, not even that. All right, right there. We're going to call it 251. If Tesla starts to bounce, it'll bring that 50-day down. And we're going to see if we can get Tesla to meet this 50-day. And what else would it be doing? It would be putting in a lower high, right? bounce, boop, lower high, pulls it back. We'll see, right? Doesn't mean it has to pull back and just continue to the downside. Maybe everyone's wrong and we just continue up. Again, I like to say until there's a real reason for the markets to go down, we'll probably just trend up or sideways until you get bad earnings, until you start to get real bad inflation data, or if inflation is sticky. Well, I meant not inflation data, but until you get like job loss and like bad like recession risk starting to like really show itself. You're starting to get these companies laid off. Rite Aid. Rite Aid's another one that's going to be starting to file for bankruptcy. So, Tesla, I'm going to look for a bounce back on Tesla. Right? It's an area of 240. Man, it's tough because you got a gap fill here. Right? Got a gap fill there. Call it 245.50. I want to see if we get back up here, though. This is more so your major level of Tesla. And it's weaker than the market, right? It's already went to its 100-day, bounced up, and it's far below its 50-day. Like, because if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this, this rally, this pivot high. There's the double top for the spot, like right here, and here would be that double top for the SPY, and then the rally into earnings, and then it just fails, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for on Tesla, right? I'm going to look for to be buying the pullbacks, and these are just going to be trades to make money, base hit, double hit trades, whatever, if it gives me the opportunity. I'm going to be looking for the bounce up, so to see if we can meet that 50-day. As long as we can get above this area at 239, we got to be able to get above it, or I won't be, I'll be staying away from it. All right, so this is what I mean, right? You got down to this level, and what did it do? It quickly bounced off of it, right? It quickly left that level in a hurry. Clearly, buyers were in control there, right? That's down. It's actually down here at 212 area. So buyers stepped in. It's consolidating. It did put in a lower high Friday. We'll see what's to come, right? It's still hanging on. It's still got a little bit of strength here. 245.88, but I like whole solid numbers, right? I like solid numbers. I don't like that. Yeah, 245. So 245.75. Maybe that's where they meet, but I don't think so. I think it's a little bit higher. I think it's more so up here. I think it's at around 248 is where I would look for the pullback on Tesla. I'm just gonna trade it in ranges, right? I got a range here from 239.50 to 245. Right? From 245, then I have a range from 245 to 251. Right? That 251 is going to be the area that I'm going to look to say, all right, that's got to be the area. And then if it breaks 251, I'm going to look for 255. Trade it in the ranges. If it continues to break and hold these levels, we'll just climb it higher. And as it gets higher, that RSI is going to get higher. The MACD is going to you're going to start seeing divergence because the buying is going to slow up the further it goes. Unless there's a catalyst. Tesla truck, there's been a lot of advertising for that. So I'm going to look for a little bit of upside on Tesla. Right? That's going to be one of my go-tos this week. I'm going to be trading Tesla. I still have some more work to do. So again, I want to look to see, I still have a lot more work to do. Right? This stream messing me up, really messing me up. Check out McDonald's. That's right. McDonald's. Let's do it. That's a nice break and retest to the downside. I don't know. I might start getting a lot of McChickens if this recession starts. And this kind of reminds me of Tesla in a way, oddly enough. I wonder what happened Friday. Look at that sell volume. Wow. Closed red. Did it close? Yes, it closed red. Wow. I wonder what happened. I'm going to have to check that news out. There's definitely news. But this thing's been grinding higher. You wouldn't know. Looking at the weekly chart, McDonald's looks to be a buy. Right? If you've bought this thing since 2000, you ain't experienced hardly any pullback. Holy cow. That's insane. That is insane. If this thing's going to pull back, I'd look for 273. If it's going to really pull itself back. 275, 273 area. 50 weekly moving average. It's trying to work its way in there. It looks like we could get a buy, though, on that weekly moving average, just because it feels like it's like it's not oversold, and it's also not overbought either. So that's a tough one. Let me see here. I wonder what the news was. That's a clear rejection off of that base where people got short again with volume. Got to look for the downside. That's like a longer term double top. Boop, boop. Came back up to the base right here. Not right there, apparently. And another one. So give it up for Bingo, man. He's just throwing in. Look at that bounce off the 200-day, the 200-day moving average. Really nice. Where would we look to see you could, man? Look at these tails. Boom, boom, boom. So you got buyers down at the 200-day, and you got sellers up here at 287, 286.50. So if you get a bounce back to 250, any type of pullback into that area, you know you got some sellers to be meeting you on your way up there. Man, I wonder what happened. So 285 short, 285 area. Look to be short right off of that previous pivot low right here. Let me zoom this in because I want to make sure I get this as accurate as I could or can. Wow, I can't believe I got that right on the button. All right. Yep. 285. I'm going to look for that short. I'm going to look for the short on that. Thing is, it's putting in higher lows and stuff, and on this 15-minute chart, it's lower sold. So that could be our bounce back, right? Look to get our bounce back to 285, 50 short. Take profits along the way. You know, you would look for have your targets to at least 281, 281.50, 281.30, really. That's where it would be. So that's that. I want to make sure I covered some of the things on here. So I wanted to bring up banks for a few reasons, right? They're trying to hold support here, but there's been some downgrades with them. I'm just wondering if we start seeing some more downside. So I want to see, there's Bank of America. I'm going to see if we get a little bit of a bounce back and then short the bounces, right? Short the bounces. There was another nice setup that I wanted to see us get to. I'm going to look for a bounce back to 29.50 on Bank of America to get short, right? That'll put us right, it should put us just about where that 100-day moving average is. Should be like 29.50. Man, it might even be closer down here. Yeah, $29, right? We'll see what happens there. This thing's already made a big move, so you want to just be careful with that because it's already put in such a move. I would look for the bounce back, right? Bounce back to 29.50, play it long, look to possibly get short up into that area of resistance. See what type of volume comes in. If it's a low volume bounce back, then you know you're good for the short for the most part, right? Unless something else happens. JP Morgan, another one. This is either a break and retest, right? I think JP Morgan's got more downside. 143.50. It's got more downside to come. There's still a few dollars left on that trade too. Goldman Sachs is another one. Right, Goldman Sachs is another one. See if we bounce back on Goldman Sachs and hit that downtrend that I've got there. Hit that up, bounce it back because it's put in a double bottom right now, right? It's put in like a double bottom, kind of. But look, double bottom right there, bounce it back. 330.95, 331. Take it for the short on that pivot low. Right there. Right there on Gold Member. All right. I'm going to make sure I went through everything. Google, Adobe, Tesla, NVIDIA. Again, watch and see what NVIDIA does. Affirm, right? Affirm had earnings. Watch Affirm. They were up Friday 28%, 28.8%, 29%. Putting in a little bit of a bull flag here. If this area, if it does hold, I actually want to look for a pullback on Affirm because I want to see if See, if it does hold this area, then I'm going to look to be short getting up into that double top at around 19. All right. Unless there's a short squeeze, I don't know. I got to do a little bit more research on this. But there's a previous daily double top up here. If it does for some reason get up there, I'm going to look to be short up in that area. There is a gap fill here. So watch for that. Here as in $19. You get into $19, that's when you've filled the gap. All right, you filled the gap at 19. So we talked about Tesla. Amazon has had some bearish divergence also. We'll see if this is a break and retest. It's hanging on to the 50-day moving average. See if it gets a bounce. But it's also one of those stocks that is a little more overbought. Right? It's a little more overbought. MSFT, Microsoft. Microsoft still has that news with trying to make that deal happen with another company to make it right. So if they get that going, this thing might have some more upside. Right? Especially if the DOJ over in Europe or whatever allows them to do it. I'm going to do the same thing with Microsoft. There's a clear stage, right? We're holding 327.50. I'm looking for the long. If we can continue to hold that level, right, you're going to have little pullbacks on the way to it. But if we can get some increase in volume, I'm going to look to see if we get up to the 50-day, right? That 50-day, they should meet around 331, 330.50, right? I'm going to see if we can get Microsoft to the upside. That's a stock I'm going to be long. All right, we talked about Google, or we haven't. Google is trying to make a bounce, but I'm actually looking to see if it pulls. I want to get Google back down here. I want to get Google back into its 50-day. Boeing. Again, join us live Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. We do trade live every day right here on YouTube, ivyleaguetrading.youtube.com. I don't have much more for you guys. I'll have to give you guys the rest of the stuff in the morning, and I'll make it like a better and clearer and all that fun stuff. If you guys would like to join us, Boeing it looks to me that it's had a failed breakout, right? But again, this thing could still bounce. I want to look to get short at that 231. 231. You have a clear double top up here on Boeing. There's a gap fill, right? You have a gap fill, pivot high right there at 231. Your gap fill is at 228.50. So see if we can fill that gap. What I would do with Boeing is I would look for the pullback to the 50-day moving average, and then we look to take it long, only then to get it short again. Right? You can play the hell out of these things. Right? You can play the hell out of them. All right, so I will look for the pullback to the 50-day. Boop, pull it back, look for the bounce, put in a lower high, possibly roll it over, even if we consolidate. Even if we can just consolidate, because all these things should have an effect, and it's only a matter of time before this airlines and traveling slow down as this money starts to run a little bit more dry. All right, so clear double top up there. And then let's see here. And what else do we have there? We have not made it resistance just yet. Did it bounce? Damn, look at that bounce on Friday. Wow. So here's your area of resistance. It's up here. Yeah, that's a lower high there, so I would call it right there. All right, 22's. Man, that's tough. It's double top. 23.85. 223.85. 224. So you got to give it a little room. It's going to wick. It's not like an exact area, right? But this will put you right at that pivot high off of this double top. And if you can't break back through this double top, watch out. Boeing might be coming down. Right there, guys. I'm going to make this a little big so we can see it. All right, right here. Boop, boop, boop. Right there. Right there. So I'm going to look for the short up in this area, but something clearly happened because it pulled back and got way away from that level and never looked back. So I'll have to do my research on that. And what's going to help Boeing? What's going to help Boeing is the fact that the Dow was the weakest of the bunch, and now it's at its 100-day and is bouncing off of the 100-day moving average. That's going to bring strength into these type of names. But does Boeing come up, fill that gap, and put in a lower high at 227.50 area, 227? Really, that gap is going to be at about, I look for it to be, this gap fill is going to be right here around, yeah, 227.85, 228. Let me see here. Let me make sure that I'm reading everything correctly. But the thing is, I also don't want to be a fool, because you could get a breakout and it could just be retesting. All right, so this thing's overbought. All right, what we want to do is, it's made it support. So we have a clear range up here. And look, that takes us right to this range, guys. 229. Yep, 229 for me. If we don't break back above 229, I'm getting short. That's where I'm going to make my money. Look for the bounce back to fill the gap, pull it back off of 229, and see what it does from there, right? See what it does. Those are my game plans. Again, majority of these plays and ideas are going to be get that bounce to the long side early in the week and see if we fade it off towards the end of the week, right? Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, share, subscribe. You guys have a great night. I will see you guys bright and early in the morning. Have a great night. Get your sleep. Let's get ready to kick some ass this week, guys. I'm on a mission. I'm going to be on a mission this week. I'm telling you. Thank you, Bingo, for the ideas and all that fun stuff. Thank you guys who all contributed. Have a great night. I'll see you.